It was Michael Brantley, 4 RBI ball game. Tonight, Buck Showalter goes to the ace of the staff this season, Chris Tillman. Tillman coming in with 8 wins. Will take on this Cleveland team that right now is playing its best baseball of the season. Game 2 right now. It's the Orioles on Masson, and Camden Yards is the site as we get set to go with Game 2 of a 4-game set. The Indians and the Orioles meeting for the first time this season. Cleveland coming from behind after trailing 2-0 to win the ball game 5-2 last night. For the Orioles and those at the top of the East, and there's not much separating top from bottom at this point, you get into a losing streak like the Orioles have at 4 in a row, it just means the American League East is going to get that much tighter. And why wouldn't it? That's the way everyone thought it would be before the season started. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, and welcome. We thought we'd take a look here in the open at what's driving the American League East so far this season. Might be a little different than what you thought. Look at the numbers as far as runs and ERA are concerned. The Red Sox at the top. They are first in runs scored, 7th in ERA. The Yankees are doing it based on their pitching, believe it or not. They are 12th in runs, but 4th in ERA. The Orioles have had, well, a problem with the starters, and it shows up right here. They are 2nd in runs, but 14th in earned run average. For the Rays, well, the balance they thought they'd have with the pitching is not there yet. They're doing it on offense. And for the Blue Jays finally getting it turned around, maybe the best balance, they are tied for 6th in runs and 8th in ERA. So it is a lot of power going on in the East, and a lot of numbers all over the place for the Eastern Division teams.
It sure is. I mean, you certainly have to hit if you want to compete in the American League East. And the Yankees kind of getting by right now with pitching. They've lost some of their big bats in that lineup, but the pitching staff is able to sustain them and keep them towards the top of the American League East. But really, it's such a long season, and Buck Showalter says all the time, talent is going to reveal itself through the course of 162 games, and it's going to be no different this year. You're going to see that pitching is going to end up leading the team to the postseason. So the Orioles pitching staff certainly has to make improvements if they want to continue to compete in the East, and their offense has to stay consistent as well. But I'll tell you one thing that they do have on their side, a great defense behind their pitchers.
And the offense has been able to hold up, not only just hold up, but drive the W's, giving the pitching a chance to get together. When we come back, we'll onboard the train, bring the folks in, and let's play a little baseball. Game 2, Oriole Park, Camden Yards. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by 5 Energy Shots. A gorgeous night last night to get the ball game, the series underway, and it's another gorgeous night. Inner Harbor, take a look at our train game time temperature. 94 degrees, still humidity, though 45%, and a real summer day here in Baltimore. Train celebrating its 100th anniversary by offering irresistible financing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Take a look at the starting lineup for these Indians. About the same as last night. Bourne, Aviles, and Kipnis, Swisher, Brantley, and Santana. Reynolds goes to the DH role. Chisenhall gets a start tonight. And Drew Stubbs batting in the 9th spot. Big night for Brantley last night.
And here's a look at the Lowe's scouting report. Never stopped improving for Chris Tillman. He is looking to be the stopper. The O's need to put an end to this 4-game losing streak, and they're calling on their hottest pitcher to this point. Tillman has won 4 in a row to a 2.25 earned run average, and he has had a good mix. Fastball, slider, curve, and a change. He has the ability to use all of his pitches to keep the hitters off balance, but that curveball command is a key. It could be either a good outing if he doesn't have the command, or a great outing if he's got that curveball throwing for strikes. 15 starts this year, 8-2 record, 69 punch-outs, 32 base on balls for Tillman.
And the ball club has won 11 of the 15 starts that he has made this season, 11-4. And we are underway as the pitch will be taken by Bourne, up high for a ball. Bourne had the 0 for 5 in the ball game last night, still though at 303 in the season. Machado in at third base. Speedster goes down the line in left field, and that will be in foul territory. And Tillman evens it up at a ball and a strike. Where Chris, he's averaged about 5 2/3 innings per start in the games he's pitched this year. This is number 16. Floater will miss outside for a ball. The long ball's been a problem in games, even though he's 8-2. He's third high in home runs surrendered in the American League with 16. But other than that, he's held opponents down. 2 undelivered to center field. Jones saw it. Can he get there? He does.
Nice little drop step right there for Adam Jones. Tough ball, line drive right at him. But Chris Tillman talked about all of his pitches and able to mix it up. And Jeep Inside the Numbers says, here it is. He's got the fastball used 62% of the time. Holds opponents to a 270 batting average. That curveball is an excellent pitch. If he throws it for strikes, he can get strikeouts with it as well. 194 batting average on the curve.
Tillman will face Aviles, who's got an 0 for going. Mike Aviles, the shortstop, he had an 0 for 5 in the ball game last night, and now is 0 for his last 17 at the plate. The average dropping down to that 253 mark. Aviles will take the breaking ball. That is in there for a strike. Only a 75-mile-an-hour off-speed breaking ball, and that froze Aviles. Aviles 1 for 2, lifetime off Tillman. Wieters setting up away and high, and the pitch right there, and a 1-ball 2-strike count.
A great breaking ball there for the second strike. And when he can throw that throughout the count for strikes early especially, boy, it can get him off the fastball.
That'll go to first, and a base hit just under the glove of a diving Chris Davis. So Aviles breaks the 0 for 17 with a single.
And here's a look at the Orioles defense behind Chris Tillman. This evening, McLouth, Jones, and Markakis in the outfield. Manny Machado and Chris Davis on the corners. J.J. Hardy is short. Casilla getting the start at second base. Pretty good numbers against Masterson, and Matt Wieters behind the plate.
And here is Kipnis, who continued his hit streak last night with a 1 for 4 at the plate. Now is hit in 6 consecutive games. 10 for his last 21 for Kipnis. Runner at first and 1 out. Long hold, and Kipnis will take it for a ball. Kipnis now has reached base safely in 26 consecutive ball games. That goes back to May 26. Over that span, he's hitting .351. And in the month of June, he's got the fourth highest average in the majors in June at .392. Red hot. Tillman's done a great job of holding runners on, of course, with the help of Matt Wieters behind the plate. Base steal is only 1 out of 7 when Tillman is pitching. Wieters continues to throw them out at a high percentage, 45%. Aviles at first, the 1-0 count on Kipnis. And he'll take it down low, 2-0.
Pretty good take on a good changeup from Chris Tillman right there. Trying to get him out in front. Loose a ground ball. Like you said, Kipnis red hot. So he's seeing it like a beach ball right now.
Aviles over there at first, 5 out of 6 in stolen bases. Obviously with the 0 for 17 before that hit. He hadn't been on for a while. 2-0 count. Runner not going, and that will catch the outside corner for a strike. Kipnis with Swisher on deck. Tillman with the 1-1 lifetime mark against the Cleveland Indians. He beat them last July in Cleveland. 6 2/3 innings in that start. Gave up a home run to Sin-Soo Choo, and that was it against him. 2-ball, 1 strike count. Runner not going, and the pitch will miss, and the count will go to 3-1. Like most of the Orioles starters, the problem has been trying to get deep into the ball game because the pitch count jumps up on him early. And the continuing work in progress for the Orioles starters, trying to get the pitch count down and get deeper into the ball games. Here's the 3-1 delivery, and it's a walk. So Tillman surrenders the free pass to Kipnis. 2 on, 1 down. You take a look at the walks that have been picked up by the different ball clubs. Oakland leads. Gee, what a surprise, Billy Bean. The Red Sox are second, the Tigers third, Tampa Bay, and then the Cleveland Indians. 197 walks for the Orioles. They are 12th in the American League. We talked about last night. That is a number that Buck Showalter would like to see improved on. Not complaining, obviously, about the runs scored and the power, but a little better on base percentage would come if the Orioles could get a few walks. The Indians draw a lot of them. And here is Nick Swisher. Runners on at first and second base, 1 away. Swisher, a 2 for 4 in the ball game last night. He's faced Tillman more than any other Cleveland player in the lineup, and he's 5 for 15 against him with a home run.
Well, you talk about that on base percentage, and there is really a fine line between taking a hitter's aggressiveness away, you know, especially early in the count, to try to induce a walk. And I think a lot of hitting coaches would much rather see their hitters be aggressive. It's just tough to go up there and think about a walk first. Yep. You have to think about hit first and then take.
That's right, and Buck says that repeatedly about. He says he does not believe in the walk until you hit sequence. It's hit, then walk.
Yeah,
that's what he wants his players doing. He's just asking that they be more conscious of taking a few more pitches, perhaps trying to draw a few more walks. 2-0 delivery, but as you say, Mike, you don't want to screw up the mentality.
Right.
Guys are hitting, you don't want them going to the plate thinking about a walk.
Yeah, but there are certain situations in a ball game that, you know, you can kind of expect maybe to be pitched around, and knowing that they're not going to give you anything in the heart of the plate and nibble and fall behind, and that's when you pick up most of your walks.
Swisher with a hitter's count here, 3-0. And walked him on 4 straight, and Tillman in trouble here in the first inning. The bases are loaded with 1 away. And Brantley's coming up, who did a number on the Orioles last night. Brantley had the 2 for 4 with a homer, 4 RBIs. Brigadeer is going to make a early visit to the mound.
Well, hopefully it's just a slight mechanical issue for Chris Tillman that Rick Adair might pick up. Maybe just staying back, staying behind the ball a little bit. Keeping that front shoulder in as long as possible. Certainly been a key for Chris Tillman. When he starts flying open, his command typically becomes more erratic. So subtle moves. You certainly don't want to get into his head too much. Everything he's worked on through the course of the week and here the last month, he's had really good success. But maybe 1 or 2 key words to get him back on track.
So a big chance right here with Michael Brantley coming up. Career with the bases loaded. Has not had a grand slam. Aviles the single at third. Kipnis and Swisher the walks at second and first. Only 1 away, so looking for that ground ball. I was going to ask you, if you're Brantley coming in with this situation, the pitching coach has gone out. Are you looking to go after that first pitch?
I usually was.
You were?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because he's got to be thinking about throwing a strike, right?
Definitely, especially early in the ball game. I mean, he's trying to lay it in there for you.
And he did get a strike. And that ball is going to be taken in the air to McLeod. It's not very deep. Tagging up is Aviles. He'll score. It'll be a sacrifice fly for Brantley and an RBI. His 38th run batted in, and the Indians have a 1-0 lead.
Well, a couple base on balls, and that's really what led to this run for the Indians in the first inning.
So that's 5 RBIs now in a game plus an inning for Brantley against the Orioles. And the other runners remain at first and second. Kipnis and Swisher stay where they were. And that'll bring up Carlos Santana. Santana, the switch hitting catcher, 1 for 5 in the ball game last night. Santana 281 right-handed, 274 left-handed. 6 of his 10 home runs have been hit left-handed. 2 down. Tillman's pitch will be up high for a ball. And Tillman up to 20 pitches thrown here in the first inning. Still trying to find that final out. Indians last night went 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Here's the 1-0 delivery, and that is taken for a strike on the inside corner. Santana's been a good RBI man in these situations. 291 with runners in scoring position. Tough out at the plate. Good contact hitter. Both the long ball and 19 doubles to go along with the 10 home runs. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery to him. Breaking ball, a good one. Dropped that one in and frozen.
Well, that was. You certainly have to be careful. Take a look at this pitch from Chris Tillman. Big breaking ball right at the bottom of the zone, and those are the ones that catch hitters off guard. You know, they're gearing up for the fastball. Chris Tillman's had a pretty good fastball. Drop that big hammer in there. It just changes their eye level and get a lot of takes.
Here's the 1-2 delivery. Santana will bloop that one to third base. Machado didn't see it and still makes the catch. Manny Machado had to find that on the second effort, and he still got back and hauled it in, and that will end the inning. A run, 1 hit, no errors. 2 are left on base, and the fine defense of the Orioles ends what could have been a bigger inning for the Indians. Yankees 2.5 games behind Boston. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the O's. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. McLeod, Machado, and Markakis. Jones, Davis, and Wieters. Hardy, Chris Dickerson in as the DH, and Alexei Casilla at second base. Wieters last night, the home run.
And here's the Lowe's scouting report for Justin Masterson. He is the Indians' ace. 9 wins on the season. He's averaging over 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's on pace to throw over 200 innings for the 3rd consecutive year. Simple success, though. 2 pitches, basically. Power 2-seam fastball and a slider, but at 6'6", he gives hitters a unique look for a starter. He's got a long arm swing and almost a sidearm arm slot.
adds a little bit of movement and very tough to pick up for righties. But road troubles, with all the good numbers Masterson's put up, he's lost 4 consecutive road starts.
That ball will go to first base. A one hopper. McLouth going after it. Swisher right there, and McLouth's retired on 1 pitch.
And here's a look at the Indians' defense. Brantley, Bourne, and Stubbs across the outfield of Vilas and Kipnis up the middle. Kishenhall at third base, Swisher over at first, and Santana back behind the plate.
So a quick out picked up by Masterson, who throws a lot of strikes. Here's Manny Machado. Machado with the 0 for 5 in the ball game last night. Manny hitting a .317, 38 RBIs. Masterson's delivery showed bunt and will take the pitch outside for a ball. Masterson 6-3 lifetime against the Orioles. Formerly with the Red Sox. He'll miss inside with it for a ball. To talk to the folks who follow the ball club, Terry Francona, the manager, saying it's the slider. That's the difference for Masterson this year. He's mastered the slider. It's his pitch that he's using to get strikeouts, and as Mike said, a lot of them. With 110 strikeouts, he starts the day 4th in the American League in Ks.
Yeah, certainly commanding it much better. And he does have good movement on that two-seam fastball to go along with it. Hitters have to gear up to protect, especially that inner third. The righties, that two-seamer running back in on him opens up the outside corner with the slider.
Manny Machado getting a look at Masterson for the first time and not liking it. There's another strikeout, 2 outs.
Oh, there it was. A couple hard fastballs inside. And then Masterson drops that slider Gary's just talking about, right on the outside corner to get Manny Machado out in front.
So Masterson with the K, 2 down. That'll bring up Nick Markakis. Nick, solid ball game last night with the 2 for 4, the homer. Now up to 292. 8 home runs on the season for him. And the pitch, boy, there's movement on that ball. The two-seamer and the slider both fall off the table for Masterson when he's on. He's only 28 years old. Right-hander will get that one in there, and the count goes to 1-1.
When we talk about that two-seam fastball that he has pretty good sinking action, a lot of run on it, but he also throws a four-seamer off it. Just saw that to Nick Markakis, standing him up.
There's that pitch that breaks down and in. The left-hander's hitting 247 off him. Right-hander's just 182. He has given up 8 home runs on the season. He's a workhorse. 4th most innings pitched in the American League at 108. Oh, nasty jam shot. Chisenhall's got it and records the out. So Masterson sets the Orioles down in order. We've completed 1 here in game 2 of this 4-game set against the Indians. They lead it 1-0. Tables and dining, the ultimate triple play at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races.
Impressive numbers there for the Orioles pitchers. Chris Tillman on this list for highest win percentage since June 25th of last year, folks. You talk about Orioles pitching. Well, there's Chris Tillman at 17-5, and Miguel Gonzalez on that list as well, 14-7. Orioles, of course, have seen Max Scherzer this year. He is a dominant pitcher, 21-2. Cologne on the list as well.
Tillman making his 16th start and the 9th start here at home. Away, he is 6-0 with an ERA of 2.7, but at home 2-2. The ERA almost double at 4.6 here at Camden Yards. And the pitch will be taken up high. Here is Mark Reynolds. Mark's probably going to be slotted now into this DH role that he's in tonight a lot more, with Swisher back to play at first, and they'd like to get Chisenhall in more often as the third baseman. So that'll leave Mark as a designated hitter in a few more games. He did not go around on that. He had a 1-for-2 in the ball game last night. Reynolds against the Orioles, a 200 hitter against the O's, and the pitch is outside, and Tillman, not getting ahead on these hitters, falls behind 3-0. If he gets the first strike, the opponents hit just 211. If he doesn't, they hit 281. 3-0 delivery, and he was taking all the way in their first strike, 3-1.
Yeah, that's a pretty common theme, obviously, with most pitchers, but pretty dramatic change in numbers there. So for him to be successful, certainly has to get ahead of this Indians lineup.
3-ball, 1-strike delivery to Reynolds, and he draws the walk. So 3 walks have been surrendered. That's a leadoff walk here in the second inning. One lucky fan is going to win the chance to challenge Adam Jones to a competition of their choice as part of Masson's Adam Jones Fan Challenge, just presented by Care First. All you got to do is head over to facebook.com/Masson Orioles and vote for your favorite finalist video by June 30. Now, Nick Walenda sent in a video. It was not put in the finals. This walk in the Grand Canyon thing was not a real good idea. So, no. Sorry, Nick. Runner on at first base, and here's Chisenhall. Did not play in the ball game last night, but looks like he's going to get some more playing time, especially if he can get the bat going a little bit and be a regular at third base. Indians had planned in spring training for him to be the first baseman. He opened the season with the Indians, didn't hit, got sent down to AAA. That's going to be a base hit down the left field line. McLeod going over to try and hold the runner, won't be able to. Throw will come into second. Chisenhall, a big turn, goes back. So Chisenhall with a single, and the Indians cover the corners here in the second with nobody out.
Well, a couple good things there. Pretty good swing right there by Chisenhall. You talk about his numbers, trying to climb, get that average back up. He stays on top of a pretty good fastball out over, but look pretty much off the plate. Mark Reynolds obviously going first to third, but Nate McLeod with a really good play, cutting that ball off, getting it back into second base and keeping that double play in order.
Big play, good hustle by Nate in left field. Reynolds had plenty of time to get to third, and Chisenhall made a real big turn, but decided to go back. So nobody out here in the second inning is Drew Stubbs. He's got a 6-game hit streak with a 2-for-3 in the ball game last night. Orioles double play depth going after the first pitch. That will be fouled away. Stubbs 259 with runners in scoring position. Cleveland team is ranked 5th in those numbers in the American League. And they're getting some early chances here in this ball game. Brantley with a sac fly with the bases loaded. Santana an opportunity with 2 on in the first inning, popped out. Tillman with the 0-1. That'll be down to third. Manny Machado's getting trapped. Reynolds went off the bag. Tag put on by Waiters. So Machado alertly getting Reynolds, who was halfway committed to going. And when you're halfway committed in this game, you're probably going to be out.
That's right. Nice play by Manny Machado. He sees the play right in front of him, and this could prove to be an important run. He cuts down, makes the play to his backhand side, steps up, and just follows Mark Reynolds. And the timing is perfect. Matt Wieters able to tag Reynolds out and keep Chisenhall at second base. So once again, that double play stays in order.
And 1 away. So the lead runner retired. And here is Bourne, who flied out to center field, his first time up. And will take the breaking ball for a strike. Play like that can change the nature of a ball game. Reynolds did not have to take off there, and in doing so, not being fully committed, made the play relatively easy.
Yeah, definitely. Really no place to go when Manny commits to making the double play turn. That's when he can take off, and aren't too many times a second baseman will throw home to cut that run down. So a little bit over aggressive right there for Mark Reynolds.
So Mark back on the bench, and an 0-2 count on Bourne. Bourne is hitting .316 with runners in scoring position. First and second, and one out. Tillman's delivery, and he got him over the top of it. Foul tipped, and Wieters held on.
Well, we talked about Chris Tillman's curveball. Take a look at the Nissan pitch track. This one shows itself right at the top of the strike zone, and boom, down right at the very bottom. Bourne swings over the top of that one.
So a chance to get out of this inning. Avila's coming up, picked up a single, scored a run in the first inning. Avila's now with a 2-for-3 lifetime off Tillman. Runners off first and second, and Avilas will foul it back. Tillman's on a personal high of 5 consecutive wins over the last 6 ball games. He's had 5 wins, no losses, and 1 no decision. He held that ERA at 3.71. 0-1 delivery on the way, will be outside. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Chris now at the age of 25, 24 wins and 20 losses. Career numbers. 1-1 delivery. Did he go? Fouled off. Couldn't hold up on it. I think he fouled it off. And a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Mike DeMiro, the home plate umpire, doing a little housework there. Ted Barrett's got first base. Will Little has joined this crew. He was not here last night. He's at second. And Scott Berry at third base. Oriole fans applauding for that third out. 1-2 delivery on the way, and a ground ball to second base. Casillas got it. And that will retire the side. So the Indians looked like they were going to get on the board again, but Tillman, with a little help from his friends behind him, keeps it a 1-0 ball game. Of the game is Ronald King Sr. from Baltimore. Ronald, you've won $500 for being selected. You get $100 more for every Orioles hit during the ball game, and an extra $500 for any Orioles home run in the 5th inning. For your chance to be the Maryland Lottery hitted big contestant of the game, play 5-card cash. Go to mdlottery.com/Orioles to enter. Good luck, Ronald. But the rally caps going early. 10-10. 10-10, good buddy. And here's Adam Jones. Just 110. Adams standing in. A couple of hits in the ball game last night. A 2 for 4, putting his average back at 300. 4 career home runs against the Cleveland Indians. Masterson's pitch will be in there for a strike. Masterson, like Tillman, when he gets that first pitch strike, average 181. If he doesn't, average jumps to 263. 0-2.
That was a pretty good look at a nasty slider from Masterson. Back Adam Jones off the plate, broke back over for a strike. So we can utilize it inside and outside.
0-2 delivery, a chopper. He's jammed Markakis and Jones in their first at bats. One away. Take a look at our Major League notebook and the East Winds page. A-Rod is getting ready to come back. Could begin rehab assignment in July and is on schedule. Jeremy Hellickson, Tampa Bay, first 11 starts, not so good. Last 5, deliciously good. 4-1, 3.94. Jose Iglesias is in. Will Middlebrooks is out. Iglesias has been named the starting third baseman now, and that's why. 426, 1.44. In the games he's playing just could not keep him out. And Iglesias now has got 43 hits in his first 100 at bats of the season. The first American League rookie to do that since Tony Oliva in 1964.
Just basically hit his way into the lineup.
They could not say no. And Middlebrooks was not hitting. So John Farrell has made the change. Here's Chris Davis. He will take the pitch inside. Davis had an 0 for 4 in the ball game last night. Still leading the majors in home runs, chasing Miguel Cabrera in both average and RBIs. As Chris's 27 homers are number 1, his 331 average number 2, and his 70 RBIs 5 behind Cabrera. That is going to be in there for a strike from Masterson. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Pretty impressive to be in competition for the Triple Crown with the reigning Triple Crown winner Miguel Cabrera. Obviously impressive that Cabrera's doing it again, but
got him. Boy, we were commenting between innings, like watching. You watch him from, we're behind home plate, but you watch him from center. I mean, man.
Yeah, this is a hard sweeping slider down at the bottom of the zone. Very tough to pick up. We talked about his delivery. Very unique and kind of a funky approach. Very hard on both righties and lefties.
Masterson with a lifetime 6-3 mark against the Orioles here at Camden Yards. He is 2-2. This is the 8th time that Masterson has pitched here in this ballpark. ERA is high in this yard, 6.43. 0-1 count. Wieters 4 for 19 off Masterson. Our AT&T Mobility Trivia fact: the O's have 4 players 10 or more home runs this season. Only the Jays and Rockies have more with 5 each. All home run hitting ball clubs. 2-1. Masterson, 6th season, 5th full time in the majors. Originally selected by Boston, 2nd round. He'll get the chopper. Swisher's got to hustle to get back. Does. Masterson came over, was right there with him. And Wieters is retired. So 6 in a row set down by Justin Masterson. And the run in the first inning for the Indians, still the only one on the board. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by PNC Bank for the achiever in you, and by your local BMW Center. Gary Thorne and Mike Wardick here at Camden Yards. This is a 4-game set with the Indians and the Orioles meeting for the first time. We will be back tomorrow night. Jason Hamill, Scott Kazmer, and then the 4th game, Miguel Gonzalez and Corey Kluber will be scheduled to go in that one, and they are all night games. And then, much to Francona's delight, they get to take off for a doubleheader. Play a night game, next day play 2.
Nice. It's been a brutal schedule on everybody, and of course the weather early part of the season. There are a lot of teams that have doubleheaders that they have to make up. The Orioles have been very fortunate in that regard.
Cleveland batting with a 1-0 lead as we go to the 3rd inning. And here is Jason Kipnis. Kipnis drew a walk his first time up. Kipnis, Swisher, and Brantley due up. And the pitch will be taken for a ball. 2-0. Told you Kipnis has that streak now of 27 straight games because he walked of reaching base. 27 consecutive. That is right now the either second or third longest active. It depends on what's going on tonight. Colorado's Michael Kadaya sits at 40 consecutive, and Miguel Cabrera with the Tigers at 38. And Jose Iglesias starts the night at 26, just as Kipnis did. They are the 4 with the big streaks going of reaching base in consecutive games. 3-1 delivery on the way to him. Jackknifes away, and another walk. Tillman living dangerously. He gave up 2 walks in the first inning and loaded them. A leadoff walk in the second, and now a leadoff walk again here in the 3rd inning. Tomorrow night, the Orioles continue their series here. We like to remind you that you got a lot of great tickets still available. You can show your Birdland pride as the American League East battle continues. You buy one, get one free. Exclusive at Orioles.com/orange. Enter the promo code ORANGE to take advantage of the limited offer. Paint the park orange for the game tomorrow night. A 2-for-1 at Orioles.com/orange. Nick Swisher up. Swisher will take it for a strike.
Well, that's a good sign right there. First pitch strike. Chris Tillman really has to get back into a rhythm here. He hasn't been able to find it yet in this ball game. Already 4 base on balls and kind of laboring through first couple innings.
It's the most walks he has surrendered this season. 3rd game in which he surrendered 4. But as Mike said, we're only in the 3rd inning here. He walked 4 in the first game of the year against Minnesota. And then 2 games ago, he walked 4 against the Red Sox. And that's the most walks he surrendered in a ball game in his career, is 4. Swisher's got one of the walks tonight. Kipnis at first base. And that pitch will be taken up high. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Swisher. Back in the lineup Sunday after physical problems kept him out. Trying to get the bat going again in the cleanup spot for this team. 4-year contract signed with the Indians as a free agent, leaving New York. 1-2 delivery, and he goes through it, and another big strikeout by Tillman.
That sure was pretty much challenging Nick Swisher here with a fastball away. Nissan pitch track picks it up in that up and away quadrant and just blows it by Nick Swisher. Good change up in that sequence as well. Keep him off that fastball.
1 away. Brantley picked up the RBI on the sac fly in the first inning. Brantley now with 38 batted in. Infield moves a little bit, playing him to pull, not all the way around. And he will take the breaking ball in the dirt. Wieder's able to stop it, and a 1-0 count. Indians are a running team. Second in the American League in stolen bases. Take a look over there at first base where Kipnis is tagging with Davis. Kipnis has got some decent speed. 17 stolen bases. Caught only 5 times. He leads the Indians. Bourne with 11 is the other Indian with double-digit steals.
Now, Terry Francona, he likes to be aggressive. He loves the team speed, and he utilizes it. He'll also hit and run. The situation calls for it to put some pressure on the defense.
Throw over again. Looking today, the Orioles have the #1 lowest percentage of opponent success at stealing bases. Opponents 57% at stealing bases against the Orioles. That is the lowest percentage in the American League, with Wieters, of course, at 45% throwing out base stealers. 1-0 delivery. Popped up. That'll be back and out of play. And for Matt Wieters, right at the top this season among the catchers in caught stealing with 12. Tyler Flowers with the White Sox 11. Salvador Perez of Kansas City at 9, and 5 others tied at 8. So Matt with the most caught stealing and that very high percentage. And as we've noted, one thing those numbers do is slow the running game way down.
It sure does. I mean, talk about success and paying attention to detail. Buck Showalter and pitching coach Rick Adair, they decided they needed to make a change, not only at the big league level, but throughout the organization as far as pitchers quickening their times to home plate. You just can't run freely. So they made it a point to change everybody. They started it last year or the year before at the end of the season, and last year everybody bought into it, and they were probably the best in all of baseball, limiting the running game, and it's carried over into this season.
2-1 delivery to center field. Jones going back, hit hard by Brantley. Jones is there for a step on the warning track, and Kipnis will come back to first base. So Brantley retired, and there are 2 down. Well, Buck Showalter went so far as to say, starting last year, in fact, if you can't hold runners, you can't pitch here.
Yeah, you have to be quick to the plate. You have to vary your times, have a good pickoff move, at least work on that. He was just sick and tired of seeing guys being called up with very slow times and runners just running crazy. When you have a Gold Glove catcher behind the plate that can't throw guys out, it's because the pitchers are too slow. And that's just another reason why they've had so much success. I mean, we've talked about their defense, and that's certainly part of defense with their offense, but all the little details of the game come into play when you want to have a successful team and a successful organization.
Santana, Davis up, and he's got it. Chris Davis. Santana was vying for a double, maybe a 3-bagger right there. So in each of the first 3 innings, Chris Tillman has had the Orioles defense rise to the occasion, and it remains a 1-0 ball game. Volkswagen. Take a look on this date, 1961, the Orioles Angels, a major league record 16 pitchers in a game. Ron Hansen with a 14th inning home run won it at Wrigley Field in Los Angeles. And pitching for the Orioles, Jesse Orozco set the major league record for most relief appearances, 1,051 besting the mark that had been held by Kent to Colby. Volkswagen Springtoberfest event is going on now. Visit VWDealer.com today. A couple of Oriole notes on this date in baseball history. To Colby and Orozco. It wouldn't have been a bad back-to-back combination coming out of the pen.
Oh, no kidding.
And a pitch to Hardy taken for a strike. The Orioles looking for their first hit. Hardy a 1 for 4, followed by Dickerson and Casilla. Masterson again coming in on the fists, fouled straight down.
J.J. Hardy has certainly heated up here in the month of June. April and May, 238 batting average, but June, 341. That on-base percentage following suit as well, 382, or was 274 in April and May.
That one is taken to left center field. Center fielder, Bourne. He's got it. Hardy retired on the fly ball out. Masterson, as you might expect with that cutter and two-seamer, 58% of his outs have been recorded on ground balls this year. And you've seen the Orioles on top of pitches here where they've hit it almost right straight down to Mother Earth here in the first 3 innings.
Yeah, that's why I think it's a good sign that J.J. Hardy just flew out center field. Maybe they're starting to see
the ball up a little bit.
Yeah, you certainly have to see it up on Masterson.
Here is Chris Dickerson. He's the designated hitter in the ball game, and the pitch will be taken up high for a ball. Orioles continue to juggle the DH. There have been a lot of them for the Orioles this season. Ground ball towards second base. Kipnis. Apparently he didn't get that one up. And there are 2 down. Well, voting winding down for the All-Star game. A lot of Orioles looking for your help to make the start. Davis, Hardy, Jones, Markakis, a position to do so. Machado, Wieters, McLeod, the chance to get there. You still have a chance to vote until July 4. You can vote up to 35 times. And if you do so, you'll have a chance to win that All-Star jersey autographed by the Orioles All-Stars. So get on it, Orioles.com/vote-orange. All-Star game to be played in New York at the home of the Mets, Citi Field. Ballots on hand at the ballpark right there, as well as online. Alexei Casilla, and the pitch taken outside. And as we said earlier, with the number of Orioles, 4 of them potentially starting, Jim Johnson certainly is going to be selected to go, one would think. The pitchers you don't vote for. A great sign, but Showalter noted that fans, not just Oriole fans, but fans around baseball recognizing the great first halves that so many Orioles are having. 2-1 delivery on the way, and that caught the corner.
Oh, you see great support wherever the Orioles travel to. A lot of Orioles fans everywhere. There's been such a lull for over 14 years, and then the winning last year sparked more interest in the Orioles.
And another strikeout, and Masterson goes through the first 9, retiring them all. We've completed 3 here at Camden Yards. Indians 1, Orioles 0.
finding some early rhythm, but his defense is helping him out. Manny Machado with a spectacular diving play, and then cuts down a run there. Mark Reynolds, and then Chris Davis with a beautiful catch, robbing Santana for extra bases to get out of that inning.
Orioles continue #1 in defense, having committed only 16 errors. The Indians are 10th in the American League, 22 errors committed. And Manny Machado has got a third baseman right now, as you're going to want to see defensively and at the plate as well. He and Cabrera, of course, leading the charge at third in the American League. Cabrera leading everybody, talking about the All-Star game in votes, and deservedly so. And Manny Machado certainly a chance to be selected. Chris Tillman going to work here, and that ball fouled back by Reynolds. Reynolds drew one of the 4 walks surrendered by Tillman. He's walked 4, struck out 2. 233 on the year with the 14 homers. The 0-1 delivery, and that will be on the outside corner for a strike. Tillman going after win number 9. Masterson's going after win number 10. 0-2 delivery, and Reynolds will foul that one away. Hot Cleveland team that's won 9 of their last 12, and they won 3 consecutive road games, and Reynolds a part of that, providing exactly what the Orioles saw and what Cleveland expected they would get, signing him to a 1-year deal. Power and strikeouts, and he goes down here. Strikeout number 3 for Tillman.
Pretty good movement right there on a little cutter slash slider. Nissan pitch track showing it, catching that up and away spot. Mark Reynolds with a big swing and miss, unable to get to that pitch.
That will bring up Chisenhall. Lonnie Chisenhall, 24-year-old out of North Carolina, with the Indians last year, hit .268. Played 43 games for him. He's a .260 lifetime career major league hitter. He's only had parts of 2 seasons at the major league level with the Indians. And that is in there for a strike. That's why we were talking about Chisenhall young and being the one they hope is going to be their third baseman of the future. Mark Reynolds has played there a good deal this year, and also at first while Swisher was out. Strike taken, and 1-2.
There you go. Chris Tillman really more aggressive in the strike zone here in the 4th inning. That's a good sign. He can settle in.
1-2 delivery, and a great pitch. Throttled back on that one and got him.
Well, we talk about Chris Tillman's good mix of pitches, and when he can throw them all for strikes, he can be very effective. And a couple great fastballs, and here is a good look at his changeup. Great location, great arm speed, and that's what sells it. And you see how far out in front Chisenhall is of that changeup.
Getting more efficient, getting out. 61 pitches thrown. Here is Drew Stubbs hit into a fielder's choice. His first at bat. Stubbs with the 6-game hit streak, been one of their hotter hitters. 7 for his last 20. And the pitch taken outside for a ball. Drew Stubbs was acquired from the Cincinnati Reds. 3-team deal that included Arizona. 2-0 delivery, and that will be taken for a strike. He's had a .314 batting average over the last 15 ball games. 2-ball, 1-strike delivery to him, reaching for it, and will foul it off. And Tillman gets the count even, 2-2.
We're going to that changeup more frequently here in the 4th inning, showing some pretty good command of it.
Tillman with a 2-2. Ground ball, second base, Casilla, 360, gets away. Retires the side in order. That's the first clean inning that Tillman's had in the ball game. We go to the bottom of the 4th. The Orioles looking for their first hit. Yasiel Puig, the Dodgers, 34 hits, 7 home runs, first 20 at bats. He is the first player to do that in 20 games ever, to have that many hits and that many home runs. Last night, Michael Brantley, you see, 4 RBIs, previous 21 games against the East. He had 2. He's already got another one in the ball game tonight. He'd had no RBIs in the last 15 against the American League East before the ball game last night. Jonathan Papelbon with the Phillies struggling. He's blown 3 straight saves and blown 4 of the last 5 chances that he has had.
Unbelievable. That Puig is something special, isn't he?
Wow.
Talk about electrifying a team and a fan base. Well, really all of Major League Baseball. And they tune into the highlights to watch him.
And the pitch will be taken by Nate McLouth, who grounded out on the first pitch seen in the first inning. Nate with an 8-game hit streak. He extended it with a 1-for-5 in the ball game last night. Pitch is taken away. Some wondering already whether if Puig continues these numbers through the All-Star selection period, should he be selected to the All-Star game. That ball put up in the air to left center field. And that will be handled by Brantley for the out. McLouth retired. Our PNC minor league report brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you.
Yeah, Nick Baylog really doing well. Last 10 games, 308, 1 home run, 7 RBIs, 3 doubles, and 39 at bats. Really putting himself on the Orioles map this season. 288 with 3 home runs and 23 RBIs. Now, he was undrafted, so he is having to prove himself, and he certainly is right now in Delmarva.
He's out of Saratoga, California. It's only his second year. He played last season 28 games with the Gulf Coast League Orioles, hit .376. So a second-year look at him by the O's. Manny Machado, a strikeout victim his first time up. Masterson has walked none. He has struck out 3. 1-1 delivery on the way. Masterson has 2 complete game shutouts to his credit this year. He shut out the Yankees and the White Sox, and both games were 1-0 ball games. He did it against the White Sox at home and the Yankees at home. Pitch will be taken up high in a 3-ball, 1-strike count. It's been Masterson, Alan Harang, and Bartolo Colon are the only pitchers in the league who have 2 complete game shutouts. And there are 10 American League pitchers total who have complete game shutouts, and the same is true for the National League. They have 10 complete game shutouts in the National League, and only Adam Wainwright with the Cardinals has 2.
Well, not many nowadays, of course, with the bullpens being as specialized as they are. And setup man, of course, the closer.
3-2 count. It's one of the real tough decisions that always has been, but even harder now. When you get a pitcher cruising along in a close game with a chance to get a complete game win, when to take him out or leave him in for managers is very tough.
It sure is.
I mean, the first rule's got to be you're trying to win, and you can't ever let your heart get in the place of your head in the decision on that. But that said, you're always asking the question, is what's on the mound better than what I'm going to bring in from the bullpen?
Right.
And later in a game with a starter, you're never quite sure.
Well, and I think a lot of guys have to have kind of a proven track record to be allowed to go in the 8th and 9th inning as a starter.
Popped up towards third base and handled by Chisenhall. So after falling behind, a 3-1 count, Masterson comes back to get the out, 2 away in the 4th inning. It's not this easy, folks. He's thrown 44 pitches. 2 down. For Masterson, it's his 197th Major League game and his 138th career start. Picked up by the Indians in 2009 in a deal that sent Victor Martinez to the Red Sox.
Well, Nick Markakis, one of the Orioles' most consistent bats. He has certainly been consistent here at home.
0-1 delivery on the way to him, and that's a strike.
Take a look at the Jeep inside the numbers, and it shows it. 345 this year hitting at Camden Yards. Last year 270, and the year before that 259. So great improvements here at the yard.
Nick right now starting the day here at home with the 7th best home batting average. He and Chris Davis are both in the top 10 in that regard. Davis at 333 starting the day at Camden Yards is 9th. Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers leads with a 389 batting average in his home ballpark in Detroit. There's Chris. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Markakis grounded out his first time up. And he's going to ground to short again. Aviles. Boy, right now, nice pick by Swisher. Orioles are not getting a good look here at Masterson as his pitches are spectacular to this point. He's retired everybody. To you by Head and Shoulders. A couple of pitchers who both can get their share of strikeouts. Tillman so far has recorded 4, and they've come in big situations when it looked like the Indians just might have big innings. And on the other side of the coin, Masterson has got 3 Ks, retiring all the Orioles face. So 2 pitchers in a good duel to start this ballgame.
It sure is. It's ended up being a great pitcher's duel. Chris Tillman kind of walking the tightrope first couple innings, but has settled in, pitched very well in the 3rd and 4th innings.
Top of the order now with Michael Bourne. Bourne will take it inside. Bourne 0 for 2. He has flied out and struck out. Tillman now 8 out of 19 first pitch strikes. Not good. 1-0 delivery, and that will miss away, and the count goes to 2-0. And Chris Tillman with Aviles and Kipnis due up for the Indians. In at third base again, Manny Machado. Bourne will slash that one to McLouth, coming over near the line and not going to get it. It'll roll into the corner, foul territory, and it's a stand-up double. So Bourne is on, and again the Indians, the leadoff man on for the 3rd time in 5 innings.
Take a look at this pitch from Chris Tillman as Michael Bourne picks up his 12th double. Outside corner, outer third, and he just drops the head on it and beats Nate McLouth down that left field line for an easy double.
So again, the Indians get an opportunity. They have stranded 5 so far in the ball game. 2 of those in scoring position. Now another one out there with real good speed. Here's Aviles. He has singled and grounded out, and he bunts. Runner will go to third easily. Wieters directing traffic. Throw made. Terry Francona playing this one tight to the vest here in the 5th inning. Bourne moves over to third with 1 away.
You certainly want to give yourself opportunities to score some runs against the Orioles, because when and if the Orioles do figure out Masterson, they can put up some runs in a hurry.
Second sacrifice of the year for Aviles. Now here is Kipnis. Kipnis has drawn 2 walks in the ball game. Infield will stay back here in this 1-0 ball game with the Indians leading, and Kipnis will swing through it. Kipnis willing to take a walk. He's got 33 of them, 69 strikeouts on the year. 0-1 count. There's Bourne over at third base. So far in the ball game, the Indians are 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. And that pitch is going to be inside. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Kipnis.
Well, Chris Tillman really hasn't given him anything to hit. First 2 at bats, back-to-back walks. He's being very careful here as well.
Hitters .262 off Tillman with runners in scoring position this year. About the same for Masterson. And that's going to come inside. Swisher, the on deck batter. Count goes 2-1. Be a lot of brow wiping out there tonight. It was 94 degrees when we started. There's very little breeze, if at all. It's a beautiful summer night, but it's warm. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Bourne off third. Floater will miss away. Changeup. Kind of wanting nothing to do here with Kipnis as the count goes to 3-1. Swisher waiting. Three-one delivery. And that ball's put up in the air to left center field. It'll get a run in. Back of the wall. Carrying. And goodbye home run. It'll get 2 runs in. The red-hot hitter, Jason Kipnis, delivers a 2 RBI homer on a ball that just kept going. And the Indians have a 3-0 lead.
Kipnis picking up his 10th home run of the season and continuing to stay red hot. I think that one kind of surprised him as well. Not a bad pitch. I mean, it was up, but it was on that outer third, even on the black. And he got just enough of the good part of the bat. And with this humidity, that ball carried out. A big home run for Kipnis.
Wow. So Kipnis gets his first home run lifetime against the Orioles. And a 2 RBI homer as Tillman gives up his 17th of the year. And the pitch to Swisher is taken for a ball. He is walked and struck out. So the Orioles here at home continue to be out homered by opponents. 60-47 now. Swisher into the shift. That's the shortstop, J.J. Hardy. Hardy looks up and goes, man, that's a close first base. On Thursday, the first 10,000 fans 15 and over at the Orioles 7:05 game with the Indians will get the Birdland Beach Towel presented by Visit Sarasota County. Show your colors at the beach, the pool, the summer. You'll have a great beach towel to enjoy. Get your tickets in advance, 888-848-BIRD, or go to Orioles.com. That's coming up Thursday. Night game tomorrow, night game Thursday with the Indians. Here is Brantley, RBI sac fly, and he is flied out to center field. Indians up 3-0, 3 runs, 4 hits. The Orioles with zeros across. Brantley a 1 for 4 against Tillman lifetime. And that'll go to second base. Casillas there. He's got it. And that will retire the side with the leadoff double by Bourne and the homer by Kipnis. 2 added. And a 3-0 lead. Left, Josh Hart. Hunter Harvey on the right being introduced to the crowd. Orioles selections who are here at the ballpark today. Hunter Harvey, 22nd pick overall out of North Carolina high school, right-handed pitcher, and Josh Hart on the left, 37th pick overall, an outfielder. Both on hand at the press conference before the game and being introduced.
Certainly a pretty exciting time for them. Obviously to be drafted, let alone, I mean, just get drafted, but in that first round by the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore Orioles organization certainly been very successful over the past couple years. So to be able to come to Camden Yards, see some of the big leaguers, do their press conference, very exciting for them.
Josh Hart, a big Adam Jones fan, wanted to meet him and did.
Nice.
For the ball game. Here's Adam Jones, Jones, Davis, and Wieters coming up. We're in the 5th inning. As Justin Masterson now with a 3-0 lead to work with. And that's going to be the first hit for the Orioles, and the fans breathe again. It was getting to that point where you started to wonder. So Jones, a clean single to lead off the 5th inning, and the Orioles' first man on base. Well, it is the 5th inning, and our home run bonus for this inning only. Tonight's Maryland Lottery hit it big contestant of the game gets $500 for a home run. Ronald King Sr.'s already won $600 tonight. For your chance to be the Maryland Lottery hit it big contestant of the game, play 5-card cash. Go to mdlottery.com/Orioles to enter. Pretty good inning to have with Chris Davis up, and he'll foul it back. Chris, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Orioles down 3-0, and the shift on against Davis.
Yeah, they have that big shift on. Aviles over there talking to Chisenhall, trying to figure out who's going to do the covering. Chisenhall hasn't been in there very often on a double play ball. It gets a little bit confusing. If Chris Davis hits a ball to Swisher, who's going to take that responsibility with the double play turn, and who's going to handle responsibility on a comebacker as well?
Ken Chisenhall, the third baseman, make a pivot at second. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Davis, it won't matter. That's going to go to the wall. Back to get it is Drew Stubbs. Davis will get a long single. The Stubbs gets it in, and Jones goes to third, and the Orioles are on the attack.
There you go. Adam Jones kind of sparking a little bit of a rally here. Chris Davis driving this one. He gets a pitch that leaks back over that inner third, and he hammers it. Masterson pretty lucky he didn't get that one elevated. That ball a couple hops off the wall. This for a single.
Jones over at third base. Here's Matt Wieters. Wieters grounded out his first time up. And Matt will take the pitch for a strike. You really have to be heads up on the base pass with Masterson throwing that slider and that cutter. He's had 6 wild pitches on the year and 8 hit batters. So he can be around on the ground. Swinging. Ooh, did that one catch Santana? And down he goes. That'll bring Francona and the trainer out.
Right off the knee cap, it looked like. He is in some pain right there. Here's a look at it. There's about a 94-mile-an-hour sinker, just barely tipped, and it indeed catches Santana right on that left knee. Got him good. Even though they wear the shin guards, the plastic is supported by some more like a softer type of material, so there is space in between the pads.
Showing him where it hit right at the top part of the knee.
He is in some pain.
And it would, of course, be Matt Wieters at the plate who would foul it off. Empathy. That's twice tonight. Santana's taken a pretty good shot. Once off the mask and now one off the knee.
Here's another look at it. He drops that knee down to go down with that sinker. On the left side.
Terry Francona wanting to make sure. Well, Santana's hurting. I can tell you Terry Francona is, and he is one happy manager. He is so happy to be back in the game, and he is loving everything about being in Cleveland. Talking with him last night before the game, he was just saying, what a great city. He said, great ownership. They are treating me so well. So happy to have me here, and I'm just so happy to be on hand. Laughing, he said, I told myself, I'm coming back. I'm going to get over the tensions. I'm going to settle down. I'm going to be more calm. And then he said, expletive, I'm ordering room service at 3:30 in the morning again, trying to figure out what I did wrong in the last game. All right, Wieters with a 2-strike count. Runners on at first and third. Nobody out. Orioles trying to get on the board, down 3-0. Santana back behind the plate, and that's a courtesy toss for his catcher right there by Masterson over to first base.
Well, that's a good sign. I mean, catchers obviously have to be one of the toughest players on the field to be back there anyway. They take a beating nightly.
And a swing and a miss by Wieters, and that'll be strikeout number 4 for Masterson. 1 down.
Oh, another good look at a sweeping slider. The pitch track. It kind of hovers out over the middle, and there is some late bite on that. Getting that Wieters down and in.
That'll bring up J.J. Hardy. Hardy 234 with runners in scoring position this year. Masterson, a ground ball pitcher, trying to get a double play to get out of the inning. And Hardy will take the pitch outside for a ball. Orioles will look to continue a streak of home runs they have. They've had at least 1 home run in 12 consecutive ball games. In fact, they've had 20 homers in those 12 games. A chopper to short. No double play here. 1. And that'll be it. So Hardy will get an RBI as he reaches on the fielder's choice. Adam Jones scores, and it is a 3-1 ball game.
We got to start somewhere. Big run there. Adam Jones, of course, starting this rally with the base hit. J.J. Hardy tops this sinker from Masterson. Aviles, nice job getting it to Kipnis, but Chris Davis barreling down on him, thinks wisely not to try to get rid of that ball.
So the Orioles come within 2. And Chris Dickerson up, representing the potential tying run in the ball game. He grounded out his first time up. Runner at first base and 2 down. And he'll take a strike. Dickerson as the designated hitter. He now has had 40 at bats, hitting just over 200 as the DH, with a home run and 3 RBIs in this role. Danny Valencia has actually had the best numbers of all the designated hitters the Orioles have used. Valencia hitting .265, 4 home runs, and 7 RBIs. You see what everybody else has done. The rest of the DH numbers, not so good.
Yeah, not good at all. Valencia leading the way with that .277 batting average.
Down to first and just foul. Nolan Reimold's had the most at bats. There's Danny Valencia. He's had 49 at bats as a DH. Nolan Reimold, even though he hasn't played for a long time, is 70 as the DH. Nolan was hitting .143, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs as a designated hitter. He's on the rebound. I think Richmond tonight again, isn't he?
Yes.
Rehab games being played by Nolan Reimold. 1-2 delivery, and that will be taken. Brian Roberts is rehabbing, first game at Norfolk, and his rehab could be back with the weekend.
Yeah.
Wei-Yin Chen is here, and Orioles refusing to say when he might be activated, but it looks like it's getting pretty close.
Yeah, it's going to be very soon, I think.
2-2 delivery on the way, and a swing and a miss. That'll be strikeout number 5 for Masterson, but the Orioles get on the board. Jones and Davis the singles, Hardy the RBI. 3-1. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick with you. And for Chris Tillman, Mike, it's a little different. He's used to having 8, 9, 10 runs in the games that he started. This is a whole different matter.
Yeah, well, Masterson really pitching well against this Orioles offense. Orioles able to get to him in that last inning, which is a good sign. They can put some pressure on some pretty good pitchers. They proved that last inning that he's capable of being hit. So Chris Tillman just has to continue to pound that strike zone. He's been a little bit erratic early in the ball game. Those walks had cost him early. He's got to get back in there and try to get a little deeper in this ball game.
Tillman's had the help from the defense and the offense a little bit now, so up to him to try and manage this ball game now and keep the Indians where they are.
It's certainly the key. Utilize that defense. They have been spectacular behind him.
It'll be Carlos Santana leading it off, the catcher. You know, he went in and said, I just took a ball off the knee, and now I got to lead off the inning. Who doesn't like me up there? 1-0 count. Santana's popped out, lined out. That's a fair ball. Davis has got it. Tillman's covering. Santana kind of limping his way down. Before the Orioles and Indians play tomorrow night, tune in to the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report, 5 to 6:30. Tom Davis, Dave Johnson, Mel Antonin, Phil Wood. They'll have all the Oriole news and notes. The guys will also examine the up-and-down career of the Indians starter, Scott Kazmir. And all that and more comes your way 5 to 6:30 only on MASN. The Mid-Atlantic Sports Report tomorrow. Mark Reynolds standing in. Reynolds with a walk and a strikeout. 1 down, 6th inning. And Reynolds will take the pitch away for a ball.
I will say this. One thing about Chris Tillman, he competes as good as anybody in the game. I mean, the first couple innings you thought, oh man, he just doesn't have his command. It's going to be a tough outing. And here we are in the 6th inning, and it's 3-1. His team is still in the ball game. And aside from that 2-run home run, really pitching well at the middle of this game.
2-0 delivery on the way and pop back. The RBIs coming in the 1st inning on a sac fly by Brantley, and then the homer by Kipnis, good for 2 in the 5th. The Orioles, Hardy on the fielder's choice ground ball. 3-4-0 for the Indians, 1-2-0 for the Orioles. Tillman's delivery, tried to wait on it, fouls it back up and over the screen. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mark Reynolds. Well, Tillman trying to bear down here. Keep this game where it is. Let the offense get going. He's thrown 85 pitches in the ballgame. But look at that last inning. Very efficient. And he's got him. Strikeout number 5. He's pitcher with 5 Ks.
Pretty good pitch here right at the bottom of the strike zone. After looking Mark Reynolds' eyes, changing his eye level, and then he drops it down here. Chris Tillman getting the call. Nice frame by Matt Wieters.
Tillman with as many as 8 strikeouts. Obviously Reynolds didn't agree on the call. Chisenhall takes it for a strike. A single, and he has struck out. Top of the 6th inning. 2 down, nobody on. Chisenhall to center field. Another one right at Adam Jones. He's got it though. And another 1-2-3 innings. So the second clean inning and a very efficient one here in the 6th. The site of the warehouse that so frames this great ballpark. Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com. And by Outback Steakhouse. It's always fresh in the Outback. Here at Camden Yards, the Orioles hoping Masterson might revert to what's been a bit of a problem for him this year, and that's the games on the road. He's 6-1 at home, but 3-4 on the road, and his ERA goes from 2.29 at home to 5.12 on the road. But you would not know that the way he's pitched so far tonight. The Orioles, and a swinging bunt move by Casilla right there as he ran up on it, bringing Chisenhall in at third base. Casilla struck out his first time up, and there is the swinging bunt. He has faced Masterson more than any other Oriole. He's 9 for 26 with a home run off the right-hander. That'll get you a start.
Sure will. Of course, Ryan Flaherty's been swinging the bat very well, and he has a couple hits off Masterson. But I think Buck Showalter wanted to get a little bit more speed in the lineup today. Trying to mix things up a little bit.
1-1 delivery on the way outside. With a strikeout, now 9 for 27 off Masterson. 2-1. Chisenhall a step in on the grass, still at third base. That's on the inside corner. Casilla would like to try and draw a walk, but that's almost impossible to do seemingly against Masterson. He's not walked anybody in this ball game. That'll be jammed into the seats. Foul.
No, he's not walking anybody. He's showing great command. And typically he walks about 3.5 per 9. Very aggressive on that two-seamer work, and we've seen a devastating slider at times.
And there's another one, and that's 6 strikeouts for Masterson.
Well, this one not his best, but it's certainly enough to lock Casilla up. A little slider that starts up in the right-hander's batter's box and comes back over that outer third.
So 1 away in the bottom of the 6th inning. Nate McLeod, top of the order, 0 for 2. McLeod looks at that off-speed breaking ball that is in there for a strike. Nate hitting at .285, 4 home runs, and stays away from him, and the pitch will miss away. 70% of leadoff batters retired this year by Masterson. He's given up only 1 leadoff man on. That was Jones in the 5th inning with a single, and the Orioles took advantage of it, scoring their run. 1 ball, 2 strike delivery. McLeod on a cut on a pitch up high. Mercy. 7 Ks.
Just when you think he's being aggressive in the strike zone, there's a pitch at the top, just explodes up and away out of the zone at 95 miles an hour. And McLeod can't get the bat head to that one.
Masterson's high this season in strikeouts is 11 against Seattle. His career high is 12 against the White Sox back in 09. And look at the movement on that pitch. Manny Machado has struck out and popped out. 2 down, nobody on. 0-1 delivery. Another bender, but that one's going to miss. 20,924, 29-2-4 on hand for game 2 of this series. That one didn't bend at all. Machado waiting for it to almost took that one in the 13.
Boy, at times that two-seamer can take off. In that last inning, he struck Chris Dickerson out on one that broke about 2 feet, and that one almost caught Manning.
Adley driven in the air to right field, deep back at the wall. Stubbs looking, and right off the top of it. Machado's on his way to second base, and he is in with yet another double. Number 35 on the year.
Well, that shows you how good Manny Machado is. I mean, you have to protect that two-seamer on the inside corner, but this one up and away, and he stays on it so well. Gets some good extension and drives it off the right field wall, just missing a home run. And just another lousy double for Manny Machado.
Machado leading the majors in 2-baggers, continuing on a pace It could set an all-time mark in Major League Baseball for doubles. A long way to go, but the pace is there at the moment. Nick Markakis, RBI chance. Orioles get their third hit of the ball game, their first extra base hit. Markakis has grounded out twice. Markakis now 4 for 24 lifetime off Masterson. And the pitch will miss away, and one of the few times Masterson's falling behind. 2-0.
Yeah, good opportunity here for Nick Markakis. 2-0 count. Look at his numbers with runners in scoring position 325.
2-0 delivery on the way to him and way inside. The only thing you can do with that pitch is foul it off.
Wow. That thing just took off. Now he's thrown a couple different types of sliders. One of them almost like a cement mixer, just kind of spinning up there, not much break. And then the other, this big sweeper, and that's what Markakis got right there.
Nick has joined the top 10 hits in the American League. He's picked up 90. He is 9th in the league. 2-1 delivery down to first. Orioles have 4 in the top 10 in hits, led by Machado now with 107. Adam Jones with 98. Chris Davis with 92. And Markakis with 90. The big bats of the Orioles, as we showed you at the top, that have made the difference and allowed them to go 42 and 35 coming into the ballgame. Two balls, 2 strikes, runner off second. Jammed him again. Third base, maybe. Chisenhall. He's got it. Boy, Nick has had some nasty pitches thrown to him in his at-bats. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. However, got to see a couple of the kids on hand here. Hunter Harvey, Josh Hart, draft picks of the Orioles, and they got to see Manny Machado make a big play in the first inning and an even bigger play cutting down Reynolds in the rundown at third base. Chris Tillman has walked 4, struck out 5. He's done a little tightrope walking. The defense behind him with catches like that off Santana by Davis have made the difference in this ball game, allowing the Orioles to stay within 2.
Been a great ball game. Sure has. I mean, great Orioles defense. Obviously, we're starting to get to Masterson a little bit. Of course, that last inning proved how effective once again he has been.
5 in a row have been retired by Tillman. 2 clean innings in the ball game for him. And we go to the 7th inning. Drew Stubbs.
It's good to see Chris Tillman here getting into the 7th inning. I mean, that's big. Big for him. Big for his confidence, and it's impressive after the first couple innings. I didn't think any way he was going to see this deep into a ball game.
He has averaged 5 2/3 innings in his starts this year. And now locked up in a real good pitching duel. Chance to raise the bar. And the pitch is there. Tillman right after Stubbs. He's retired on the strikeout. That's 6 Ks. for Tillman.
Yeah, and that's just basically challenging. You see the first two pitches right on the outer edge on this one. Pretty much right down the middle. Stubbs obviously looking for something else. Locks him up.
Top of the order, Bourne. 91 pitches thrown by Tillman so far. Now we get the small ball if either team's got it in them, especially Cleveland, to try and create another run. Bourne will bring Machado in. He can bunt for the base hit. 1-0 delivery by Tillman. That one put up in the air to right field. Nick Markakis. 2 quick outs. Paint the park orange on Sunday. The O's take on the Yankees. ESPN Sunday night game at 8:05. As a reward for showing you Birdland Pride fans who buy tickets to the game on Sunday at Orioles.com/orange. Enter the promo code ORANGE. Will receive a voucher good for the same number of tickets for any future Sunday through Thursday games later this season. Exclusive offer. 888-848-BIRD to go to Orioles.com/orange. Get a game ticket Sunday, one or more. As many as you buy, you get a voucher to get free tickets for upcoming games. Mike Aviles. Aviles will put it up in the air to right field. Markakis has got it, and what a pitching duel underway here. 7th inning stretch time at Camden Yards. Masterson and Tillman locked in a good one. Infinity. Coming up, Adam Jones, numbers against the right-handers, hitting at .317. That is 9th best in the American League against righties. Chris Davis with that big .352 average. He is second against righties only to David Ortiz of the Red Sox. And Matt Wieters at .214 with 7 home runs. The do-ups for the O's.
Pretty impressive numbers there, and these are the guys you want to have up in this situation and try to fight back. They were the ones that started the rally back in the 5th inning. Try to get to Masterson here in the 7th.
The 28-year-old right-hander, no walks, 7 strikeouts. 9-5 on the year. Has dropped his ERA from last year down about a run and a half coming into this ball game, and hasn't hurt it so far. A run on 3 hits off him. Your Indians 3 on 4. Jones, the single that led off the 5th inning and scored on the fielder's choice by Hardy, and he's going to get on again. We told you that's 9 batters now that Masterson has hit on the season, and the Orioles get another leadoff man on.
That's huge right there as well. Obviously, Adam Jones happy to take this one off Masterson. He is throwing up some filthy stuff. Catches that one in the back of the hamstring. And bring up the best power hitter in the game today.
4th time Adams been hit by a pitch. So the Orioles get the leadoff man on for just the 2nd time in the ball game, and it's been Jones both times. Now Davis, a single. And this time he drills it way back, right field. Chris Davis, goodbye, home run, tie game. The Major League leader in home runs has 28. And the Orioles have tied it up.
They are a powerhouse team late in a ball game. And Chris Davis, here it is, an elevated fastball up and out over, and look at the extension. He catches it out front and just hammers the ball. Masterson lucky he didn't do that in the prior at bat.
And the Orioles have battled back. Chris Tillman able to hold the Indians into the ball game with the 3 runs, giving the offense a chance to get going. 1 in the 5th, and now 2 more here in the 7th inning. And Chris Davis had another spectacular shot at a key moment in the ball game, and immediately followed by the first walk of the game by Masterson to Wieters. Nobody out and 1 on. When the Orioles win, everybody wins all season long. When the Orioles win and score 5 or more, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com by entering promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's valid at participating Baltimore area Papa John's. So a visit to the mound here to Masterson, had just been cruising along, not giving up a hit until the 5th inning.
Well, one of the big keys for the Orioles' success this year has been their offense from the 7th inning on, and deep inside the numbers shows it right here. Coming into today, Major League Baseball ranking first with a batting average of .269, first in all of Major League Baseball with a .442 slugging percentage, and second in the game in runs scored at 129. Very impressive numbers from the 7th inning on.
Davis, 72 RBIs now, 3 behind Cabrera. And that's going to be a shattered bat pop handled by Aviles. Wieters back to first base as Hardy got sawed off on that one for the first out of the inning. Celebrate summer at Oriole Park. Pick up the Birdland Summer 6-pack. You get a ticket to 6 games of your choice, 2 against either Yankees, Red Sox, 1 low price. Non-prime prices, primetime games, 888-848-BIRD or Orioles.com. Left-hander up, Agadon up. First bullpen action for either team. Dickerson has grounded out, struck out, and Masterson gets the strike. Fans just starting to breathe again after the home run by Davis.
Yeah, a lot of excitement there.
Wieters on at first base, 1 away. The 0-1 delivery, and that'll be fouled off at the plate. Orioles now get Troy Patton, the left-hander, ready to go. 91 pitches thrown by Masterson. Tillman doing the great job, reaching the 90-pitch mark as well. Struggling through the 4 walks early in the ball game, settled down, did a great job. If the Orioles could get another run here, of course, it would be to his side of the ledger.
I think this is one of Chris Tillman's most impressive games, in my opinion, to be able to find his rhythm after the first couple innings and then shut down this Indians offense and keep his team in long enough to fight back.
And the pitch taken away. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Masterson giving up his 9th home run of the season. 7 of those have been hit by left-handers, with Chris Davis being the 7th. Wieters off first base, 1-2 delivery on the way, and a check swing ground ball. That's fair. Long throw, not going to get him. Swisher hauls it in. Dickerson gets an infield single as Chisenhall had no chance on that one.
Now, very tough chance by Chisenhall, but Chris Dickerson, he flies down the line, and look at how long it took him to get out of the box. Chisenhall probably shouldn't even have thrown that one. Had to be aware of the speed. Dickerson beats that one easily.
Nice play by Swisher, or the runners would have moved up. So Masterson, there you see, season high, 118. That was in one of those complete game shutouts. The Orioles get a chance to get a lead. And a chopper foul in the box. Casilla. He has struck out twice. But remember, he's in the lineup because of those career numbers against Masterson. 9 for 28 with a home run. Runners off first and second base. Gets away, and the runners will advance.
Well, you had talked about it. He has thrown some wild pitches. He loses his command here once again. And this one gets away from Santana. And Matt Wieters able to slide on over to the third with Dickerson behind him.
Terry Francona's ball club now got to play it tight as the infield is drawn in. 7th wild pitch of the season. And that one in the air to right field. That's why he's in the lineup. Goodbye, home run. His second career homer off Masterson. 3 RBIs, and the Orioles lead it by 3.
Boy, that's impressive right there. Alexi Casilla's first home run of the year. Has not seen much playing time. Certainly prepared for that at bat.
So the power bats of the Orioles, Chris Davis and Alexi Casilla,
yes,
greet each other in the dugout. Here it is.
He gets a hold of this cement mixer up in the zone. 3-run blast for Casilla.
Presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Alexi Casilla sends Masterson to the bench. After what looked like a magnificent start, the Orioles get to him.
They sure did. I mean, you thought he was going to throw a no-hitter after that 4th inning. It's 6 1/3, 6 hits, 6 runs and 6 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. See how effective he could be, but the Orioles able to get to him. Now Nick Hagedorn comes in the ball game, 5.96 earned run average.
Hagedorn on with the bases empty. First pitch way up high, Nate McLeod. So the Orioles putting up a big 5 spot, big crooked number here in the 7th inning. Jones again got it started as he did in the 5th when they scored a run. He singled there. He got hit by a pitch here. The Orioles homer by Davis. And then the 3-run homer bringing in Wieters, who'd reached on a walk. Dickerson on the infield single. And Casilla. Alexei Casilla had only 1 home run with Minnesota last year, and now he's got 1 home run. Look at Matt Wieters. Now he's got 1 home run this year. It's his 12th major league home run. And Buck Showalter will be asked after the ball game about inserting him into the lineup in light of those numbers he had against Masterson, and will just smile. 2 ball, 1 strike count on McLeod. And he'll take it up high. Buck and I were talking about that the other night. Numbers he looks at in a lineup where you're going to make some changes maybe. One of the first things he does is look at how the hitter hits in that particular ballpark. If the Orioles are on the road, he believes in those numbers, and against opposing pitchers. Both of those are very important in his determinations as to what a starting lineup is going to look like. 3 ball, 1 strike count on McLeod. And he draws the walk.
Hagedorn can certainly get wild. He averages over 5 walks per 9 innings.
Former Oriole Matt Albers in the bullpen for the Indians. Machado coming up, a double. He's 1 for 3 in the ball game. Hagedorn with the runner on at first base. And the delivery on the way will be taken for a strike. Manny Machado against left-handers, 275, 333 off righties. He doesn't have any home runs against left-handers in the year, 5 all off right-handers. But he's the doubles man. 0-1 count, big lead at first base for Klaus, stepping it off. Not going, ground ball. There's one. Tag's got to be made. McLeod sliding, tag put on by Aviles. So they turn the double play, but the Orioles turn the trick here with 5 runs. Davis delivering a major league leading 28. And not any less important, Alexei Casilla, his first of the year. Davis picks him up. The home run hitter celebrates.
Kipnis staying red hot. Takes Chris Tillman deep for a 2-run home run, but Chris Davis, best home run hitter in the game, gets to Masterson, a huge blast. Alexei Casilla follows him up with a 3-run shot of his own to get the Orioles to big lead. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. And here is the game summary. Orioles take the lead in that last inning 6-3. Chris Davis 2 for 3 with a 2-run home run. And Casilla picks up his first home run of the year. It was a 3-run shot. Chris Tillman pitched a fabulous game, going 7 innings, giving up just 4 hits and 3 earned runs. Great job by Chris.
And there they are, the home run hitters for the Orioles, Alexei Casilla and Chris Davis. And now, out of the bullpen, Troy Patton.
Troy Patton, this will be his 29th appearance at 4.9. 409 earned run average is coming down. 22 strikeouts and 13 base on balls. See the opponent's batting average up there a bit at 296. Lefties 313, and the righties just a little bit less.
So what had been a tremendous pitching duel, the Orioles turned into a little bit of an offensive matchup here as they get the 6-3 lead. Only the second ball game Masterson has pitched this season where he has given up 2 home runs in the game. The other was against the Yankees. And that pitch will miss down low. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Jason Kipnis with a home run in the 5th inning, his 10th. Good for 2 RBIs, and he's had 2 walks. He's got a 7-game hit streak, and he remains a red-hot hitter. Patton's delivery to him, jammed him inside with it, 1-2.
A really good pitch, an effective pitch from Troy Patton as he throws across his body. Creates a real tough angle on Kipnis with that fastball.
Kipnis 309 average against left-handers. 1-2 delivery on the way, and he'll take it. Kipnis is 2 for 2 off Patton. The only at-bats he's had against him. Patton with the 2-2 delivery, and Kipnis will ground it up the middle. Casilla diving, can't get it. When you're hitting the way Kipnis is, there are holes, and he's 2 for 2 in the ball game and on all 4 times to the plate. MLB.com At Bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers O's baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text At Bat 31826 or go to Orioles.com for details. Another matchup in the East tonight. Tampa Bay leads Toronto 4-1 in their ball game, top of the 6th. Toronto had their win streak ended in game 1 against Tampa Bay. Texas leads the Yankees by 1. Boston 7-2 at home against Colorado in the 4th. And that pitch is in there for a strike. Swisher has gone 0 for 2 with a walk. A couple of hits in 6 at bats in the ball game, or in the 2 games. 0-1 delivery to him, and that'll be fouled off. There are power bats in this Indians lineup. So the Orioles bullpen will need to get it done here. This team can strike quickly. They are tied for 5th in home runs starting the day in the American League. Reynolds over there on the right, the former Oriole, who can put one out of the yard. Brantley, hot bat. 0-2 count on Swisher. And the pitch will be outside. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Swisher 2 for 5 off Patton. So the Oriole bullpen gets a much needed break, at least so far, by the fact Tillman worked 7. Now try and just manage this through. 1-2 delivery, and tried to wait on it, had to reach, and he's gone.
Yeah, really pretty good location. A little dangerous up in the zone, but it was on that outer third. Matt Wieters wanted it down and in. He got away with that one. Nick Swisher swinging through this pitch.
And Michael Brantley. Brantley with the RBI in the 1st inning and a sac fly. 5 RBIs in the 2 games. He has an 0 for 2 in this one. Brantley 256 off the lefties, 289 righties. Runner at first. And will take the pitch for a strike. Oh, 1 count on Brantley. Hit the first, Davis. Oh, yeah! That'll get it done in a hurry. A double play on the line drive right into the glove of Chris Davis. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Of this 4-game set with Jason Hamill on the mound against Scott Kazmir. All right, coverage on MASN 2 HD begins at 6:30 with those extra presented by Geico, followed by game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on MASN.
Here's a look at tomorrow's starters. Scott Kazmir coming off his best outing of the season, going 7 strong innings. And Jason Hamill's been throwing the ball really well as of late. Should be a great matchup. And this series is really starting to heat up as the Indians take the first game and the Orioles really bouncing back, playing some good baseball here in the second game.
Orioles trying to even it up after the loss in the ballgame last night, 5-2. First time these teams have met this year. And the left-hander Hagedorn on in relief. Stays on here in the 8th inning. Nick Markakis an 0 for 3 in the ballgame. Leads it off for the Orioles. Nick hitting .277 off lefties, .300 off right-handers. Davis with his major league leading 28th home run, while Cabrera's had one tonight for Detroit, hitting his 21st. He's now tied with Edwin Encarnacion for second. Davis on top, though, 28, 21 for Encarnacion and Cabrera. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Chris will get another shot at it. He's in the hole, and that got home plate umpire Mike DeMuro. Staggered him.
Man, DeMuro and Santana taking a beating back there tonight. This fastball up and in. Markakis just trying to fight it off. And it catches DeMuro right in the chest. Man. Everybody all right back there.
Again, the empathy flows. The home plate umpire and a catcher.
Yeah.
Markakis will stand back in. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Hagedorn's delivery to him, and that'll be fouled away, third base side. Big comeback for the Orioles with that 5-run, 3-hit, 2-homer, 7th inning. Hardy an RBI, 3 for Casilla, 2 for Davis. 1 ball, 2 strike delivery. Jeez, another one. Oh, man.
I will say this about him. DeMuro, he does not move his position, which is a good sign. It makes him more consistent. See Santana setting up outside, but that one catches him up in the jaw area. Oh, he is fully exposed back there when Santana slides out to that outside corner. If the pitcher doesn't hit his spot or the ball takes a bad hop like that, he is fully exposed for some pain.
2 ball, 2 strike count. Markakis goes after the high one. And Hagedorn gets the strikeout, one away in the bottom of the 8th inning. For every Orioles walk this season, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support the Y of Central Maryland's Fit and Fun program. 199 walks, $9,950. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Hagedorn will be coming out. Matt Albers, the former Oriole, will be coming on to pitch. Adam Jones coming up. 8th inning, 1 down. Orioles lead. TNT player of the game. Here are the candidates. Chris Tillman with that solid 7-inning performance. 3 runs on 4 hits. Chris Davis with the 28th major league leading home run. Couple of RBIs, 2 hits. And Alexei Casilla with that big first home run of the year. Good for 3 RBIs. Text in your vote, A, B, or C, 31826.
Matt Albers now in relief for the Indians. 23rd appearance, a 2.59 earned run average, 20 strikeouts with 14 base on balls. Those base on balls can get him into trouble, but he has really good numbers against his opponents. Look at the righties hitting just 200 off him. Lefty's much better at 282, but he's in here to get Adam Jones.
Hagedorn worked an inning with 1 strikeout and 1 walk. Adam Jones up against his former teammate, and the pitch will be taken outside for a ball. Jones, the catalyst in this ball game, with a single in the 5th inning, scored. Hit by a pitch 7th inning, would score one of the 5 runs pushed across in that inning. The only 2 times the Orioles got the leadoff man on base, Adam Jones hit, and both times he scored. Adam now with the 2 runs scored in this ball game has crossed the plate 55 times. He is 3rd in the American League and near the top. Cabrera was the leader starting the day at 57. He pops that one up. Swisher or Kipnis. Kipnis is there. And with the save situation in hand, Jim Johnson, who is tied with Mariano Rivera for the league lead in saves, getting ready to go to work. Big hand, Chris Davis. Obviously is a real fan favorite. Tremendous numbers that he continues to put up and just keeps rolling along. Albers, 2 down, nobody on. Davis, that one goes all the way to the backstop.
As I look at Chris Davis's home run, it is hammered and he knows it. I think everybody in the stadium knew that one. Masterson as well. A lot of celebration in there, really sparked this Orioles offense late in the ball game.
1-0 count. Davis, 13 home runs at home, 15 on the road. And the pitch is taken down low for a ball. Chris has divided pretty much everything offensively up, home and road. He's came in hitting .333 at home, .329 on the road, and just a meager .405 with runners in scoring position. That one he got jammed on. Shallow left field. Shortstop Aviles. Outfielder hauls it in. Brantley puts it away. So that'll do it. We go to the ninth inning. Sports fans, take that buckle, insert, ready to go. Jim Johnson, ninth inning. Here we go. To you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. 3 pitchers in baseball have 26 saves. Jason Grilli leads the National League with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Jim Johnson of the Orioles and Mariano Rivera tied for first with the same number, 26 in the American League.
Jim Johnson certainly back to his dominant form. 26 saves in the 30 opportunities. Did have a little bump in the road, but has been perfect since May 29th. His earned run average since then just .73. See the opponent average 241. Lefties 253 and the righties 224.
So 3 outs away from a victory. The Orioles. Leading it off will be Carlos Santana, the Indians catcher. He's 0 for 3 in the ball game. Fine plays made on him. First 2 at bats. One by Machado at third. The other, the line drive to Davis at first. And will foul that one away. Santana with an 0 for 3 in his career off Jim Johnson. Johnson 4 for 5 in save opportunities. Lifetime against the Indians. 13th game he's pitched against them. That's a foul ball strike. And gets ahead of Santana 0-2.
Good to get ahead, but still want to keep that ball down in the zone. A couple elevated pitches right there. Santana all over that second strike.
0-2 delivery by Johnson inside. Gets him off the plate. Count goes to 1-2. Ninth inning, the Orioles lead at 6-3. They had trailed in this ball game before they got a run. The Indians were up 3-0. Ball game that's had 2 very different outlooks, with Justin Masterson going through the first 12 batters of the Orioles allowing nothing, and then Jones got the first hit in the 5th inning. Orioles got a run, and then 5 runs 3 hits in the 7th inning. Masterson 6 runs 6 hits 6 innings 2 home runs. 1 ball 2 strike delivery, and that'll be fouled back. Chris Tillman exactly the opposite. First 2 innings, had it not been for the defense, he might not have survived 4 innings of this ball game, but he did, and then he picked himself up, brushed himself off, started all over again, and ended up giving up just 3 runs 4 hits over 7, and a swing and a foul tip. Patton worked an inning, a strikeout and a hit, and now Jim Johnson on.
Yeah, it has certainly been an interesting ball game. A little bit of everything. We've seen some great pitching, great defense, some incredible offense.
1 ball, 2 strike count on Santana. And that'll be down low. Santana, Reynolds, and Chisenhall due up. Orioles looking to end their 4-game losing streak. Victory would make them 10-7 against the Central Division of the American League. 2-2 delivery. And the count full, 3-2.
Santana making this at bat real tough here, fouling off a couple tough pitches and bottom of the zone.
And the 3-2 delivery and walked him. So the leadoff man on here in the 9th inning. Updating you on the voting for the AT&T Player of the Game. Chris Davis on top. You still have time to text in your vote and be heard. A, B, or C to 31826. Results in the O's Extra post-game show. Runner at first, nobody out.
Well, you know they're not going to be waiting for anything up there. Mark Reynolds, and of course this part of the lineup, a lot of home run potential. If there's a pitch up.
Base hit. And the Indians here in the 9th inning will get the potential tying run to the plate. A walk and a single as Reynolds gets his first hit of the ball game. And Jim Johnson with 2 on and nobody out. Chisenhall due up. And I don't think he's going to get the at bat as Giambi's come out in the on deck circle to pinch hit. Oh, sorry, Chisenhall is going to come up. Giambi's come out in the on deck circle, apparently to hit for Stubbs. There is Giambi. So Chisenhall, a single, 1 for 3. Will take the pitch for a ball. Chisenhall 1 for 2 off Jim Johnson. 1 for 5 tonight with runners in scoring position for the Indians. The 1 for 4 for the Orioles. 1-0 delivery on the way and a chopper to second base. Casilla, Hardy, 1, relay, double play.
And that's what you get with Jim Johnson. Always just 1 pitch away from good ground ball double play. Certainly that was the situation there. Casilla did a beautiful job hanging with this double play. It got in on him, but that quick power feed over to J.J. Hardy, and J.J. turns him as well as anybody in the game. Nice double play turn.
And the defense again, right when it was needed. And there are 2 down. Santana's on at third base. Here's Giambi on as the pinch hitter. Giambi has been the DH. A lot of ball games this season. Will continue to be. See the numbers. Lifetime pinch hitter. 1 for 2 off Johnson. Takes the pitch down low and the count goes to 2-0. Santana's on at third base. There are 2 down. The Orioles with a big shift in the infield against Giambi. And Giambi will top it foul. And a 2-ball, 1 strike count. Oriole fans up. Jason Giambi waiting on a 2-1 delivery, and it goes to 3-1. Bourne, the leadoff batter, on deck. Santana at third. Three-one delivery on the way, and a strike call. Giambi asking probably whether it was called a swinging strike or just a strike. It's a strike.
Yeah, he didn't like that one. That was a up in the zone pitch. Look at the top, just a little above. Giambi with the bat flip, thinking it's for sure base on ball.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Jim Johnson. And he's on. And again, the potential tying run will come to the plate. 2 walks in the inning by Johnson. Jim will face Bourne. Rayburn will be the pinch runner for Giambi. Santana at third, Rayburn at first. And Bourne, the leadoff batter, a double, 1 for 4 in the ball game.
See Chris Davis playing behind Rayburn. They don't need to concern themselves with him. Jim Johnson's got to focus on Bourne.
Facing Bourne for the first time. 0-1 delivery to him, and that's a chopper foul. Johnson ahead 0-2. Tillman looking to win his 9th game. Could be 9-2. Masterson would be 9-6. Tillman would continue his win streak. 6 consecutive victories if Jim Johnson can get the save. Here's the 0-2 with the runner going. They check at third. Nope.
Boy, pretty good pitch right there. Nice sinking fastball right at the bottom of the zone. It's going to be a good look at it as it crosses right over the knees. Did not get the call.
Runner advances to second. Defensive indifference. Rayburn at second. Here's the 1-2 delivery. And taken again. Bourne, tough pitches. Watches him go by. Evens the count 2-2. Here's the 2-2 delivery. Bourne's gone, and so the Indians and the Orioles come away with a 6-3 win to take game 2 of this 4-game set and even it up at 1 apiece. What a great ball game. Tillman the winner, 9-2. Masterson the loser, 9-6. Jim Johnson with his 27th league leading save for the Orioles.